Welcome to Simply Happy Conversations, a podcast that teaches you how to create a clutter-free, functional and simply happy life. I'm Narelle King, a professional organiser who supports families with practical steps to simplify their lives and create a more organised home. I'm passionate about supporting neurodivergent families and individuals like myself. Today on the podcast, I'm sharing how you can use an AI app called Goblin Tools to help manage your home and day-to-day tasks. When I get home from working with clients, I usually feel overwhelmed by cooking a meal. There are just too many steps, and usually I've used up most of my spoons and energy with my clients, and I only have maybe a spoon or two left to be able to finish the day, spend time with my family and get ready for the next day. So I don't want to use those spoons up with cooking a meal. So strategies I've used in the past is putting ingredients out the night before, which helps reduce the steps for cooking in that night. I also meal prep for meals, dinner, lunch, like salads for my lunch. I'll rotate between 3. I'll also have breakfast and 2 sort of breakfasts going, baked beans or omelette that are pre-made, so I'm only having to heat up in the morning. And I also meal prep on the weekend. So I'll do those salads for lunch. I'll do dinner for Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday night. And one of those meals will also be frozen that we'll use in the following week. And a client recently introduced me to Goblin Tools, and this AI tool is designed to help break down and manage tasks and also come up with recipes depending on your ingredients and dietary requirements. So if you'd like assistance with meal planning, task initiation, or time management, then keep listening to this episode. Thanks for joining me for today's solo episode about Goblin Tools, an AI app for breaking down tasks and managing your time. AI stands for Artificial Intelligence, which has been used for customer service, like as chatbots, and you would have seen them on websites or maybe on social media. Finance also use it to detect fraudulent activities. And I know from my bank, I'll get a phone call if there's activities on my bank account that they don't think are correct and have been picked up by AI. And I know that healthcare are also using it for diagnosis, treatment plans, and patient data. So I'm going to go through the 7 features of Goblin Tools so that you get a little bit of an understanding of how it might be able to assist you. So the first feature of Goblin Tools, and this one is probably the one that you'll most want to use, and it's called Magic to Do. This feature breaks down tasks into manageable steps so that you can implement them. If you can focus on one thing at a time, it's going to help you to track your progress, avoid feeling stuck, and it can also motivate you when you can see small progress. Actually breaking down a task and going, okay, this is the next step, that is going to help you. In the Goblin Tools though, it calls it a subtask rather than actually a step. So when you select the Magic to Do feature, you get to choose the chili, which is like the difficulty of the actual task. So 1 chili is going to be easier, and if you choose up to 5 chilies, it's going to be a more difficult task. So it will then break down the task into a lot more subtasks, or like I refer to it as steps, than it would if it's just 1 chili. Once you've selected the chili level, then you add the task, and Goblin Tools then adds all of that list of subtasks. And then you can also press estimate, and it will add the amount of time that it's going to take you to do the whole task, as well as then breaking down each of the subtasks. So I'll give you an example. Making a cup of tea, that could be the task that you put into Magic to Do, and select 4 chilies as a difficult task, and it will then generate the subtask. And for that particular task, it generated 30 subtasks, so 30 steps. Whereas when I made it 2 chilies, a little bit easier, it then just broke it down into 9 subtasks, 9 steps. I'll share those 9 steps so then you can imagine what 30, so breaking those down even smaller. So making a cup of tea. So you've got to boil the water in a kettle or on the stove. Number 2 is choose your tea bag or loose tea. Number 3 is place the tea bag or loose tea in a cup or teapot. Number 4, Once the water is boiling, carefully pour it over the tea. Number 5, allow the tea to steep for the recommended time. Number 6, remove the tea bag or strain the loose tea. Number 7, add the milk, sugar, honey, or lemon to taste. Number 8, stir gently to combine. And number 9, enjoy your cup of tea. So imagine if there was 30, it's a lot more detail. This really highlights to me how a particular task, which we think is quite an easy task, when we actually find out how many steps there are, 9, I can see why some people really struggle with following through and doing that complete task of making a cup of tea, because they can get distracted when there's 9 steps to actually do, especially if you're going back to get a tea bag from another cupboard and then you get distracted, or a spoon and that's over the other side of the room and then there's something else that distracts you. Examples of other household tasks that you could use the magic to do for is cleaning the house. So you could create a room by room cleaning checklist. You could organize your wardrobe and get the steps for decluttering and organizing your clothes. Maybe it's house maintenance and you could generate a seasonal maintenance checklist. There's just a few examples that you could use the magic to do for. The next feature, which I just touched on before, is the estimator. So you can do it through the magic to do, or you can just do it alone. So this is going to provide you with a rough time frame for a task. So if you're someone like me who underestimates the time it takes to do something, this is really useful. So as an ADHDer, this is something I do all the time, underestimate tasks. So now I can put a task in and it will give me, and I select the chili level, how difficult I find that task, and it will give me a rough estimate of the time. It's only rough, but it's still going to give me more of an estimate than what my brain is going to give me. So an example I put in was brushing my teeth, and I said it was easy, so 1 chili, and it told me it would take between 2 minutes to do. Whereas when I said it was 4 chilies, it said it would take me between 5 and 10 minutes to do. Number 3 feature is the compiler. So it will compile a to-do list from your brain dump. So you literally go into the section where it's brain dump everything, and you could even use your voice activation and put down all of those things that you know that you need to do, and then press turn into task button, and it will create a to-do list for you. And you can actually send those results to your magic to do. So then you've got your list. You can actually copy and paste those over into a Word document, into a reminders or notes or any other app that you use. So number 4 feature is the Formaliser. And this takes your text and rephrases it in various ways. The overall context of your text should stay the same, but it will be written in a new style for you. So the chili spiciness setting is a hint to the tool on how much you want the rewritten text to be that style. So more peppers, it'll be more of it. So every time you hit the button, it will regenerate the text and give you a new answer. So if you don't get the answer you were looking for the first time, you can just press it again and it'll regenerate a new one. Add the text in, then you make your text more professional, easy to read, more polite. There's a list of about 15 things that you can choose from. Press convert, and then it will put down the suggestions. And as I said, you just press it again and it will then give you a new idea. This is really good for emails, text message, maybe even a social media post that you've done and you want to reply to it and you're not quite sure what words to use. You could add it into this Formaliser feature in Goblin Tools and get a great suggestion that you could then use. Number 5 feature is the judge. And this tries to figure out what the emotional content of the text is. Does it sound frustrated? Is it rude? Is it happy? Is it inquisitive? And how does it come across? What they're trying to convey in written format. So you add the text and then you press judge to see what the tone is. And each suggests also then what response you could use. Number 6 feature is Professor. It's a crash course in something. It provides a short explanation and also an example. So you add your topic and then you just press explain button and it'll spit out your answer. So I put in Instagram Reels as my crash course, and it then said what it is, why to create them, and then as an example, it gave me an example of a 15-second reel, the topic. I need to look at music, the text, some suggestions, and colors to think about. This is something that you might have something that you just want a couple more ideas. You're not quite sure about that topic. I've used this a few times with some clients when they have told me about things and I'm not quite sure about the actual interest that they're into. So, for example, Dungeons and Dragons, I wasn't all over it and I learned a little bit more about it for the next time when I saw my client, and I was prepared to be able to have a conversation in regards to that topic. I've also used it a few times with games that my son will be playing and he'll be sharing about it. I have no idea what he's talking about, and I've put it into the professor and it spat out some information about it. So I've got some context on what he's talking about. The final feature, number 7 in Goblin Tools, is the chef. And this is recipes and meal planner. So you can add in ingredients, dietary constraints. Like for myself, I've been putting in gluten-free, serving size. So for one, for maybe a family of 4, the amount of time that you want to cook it, and also the equipment. So I've been able to add in Thermomix, and it will then tell me a particular recipe. So I actually added one in the other day, and it was a gluten-free for one using a Thermomix, and it came back with a suggestion of a chocolate mud cake. Again, you can ask it again and it'll give you another suggestion. I've also done it for ingredients. I've had ingredients in the fridge, wasn't sure what to make, and I just put those ingredients in and it then made a suggestion with all the other requirements that I'd added, like a family of 4 with eggs and zucchini. And it came out with a particular quiche with a gluten-free base. The more ingredients that you add, the more elaborate the recipe will be. Benefits I've found from using Goblin Tools, it's also been more efficient, especially that chef. And it's actually shares ingredients I need and all the steps. This has also helped me to not then get lost if I'm going into Google because there's no pictures. So it sometimes helps to keep me more focused by using the chef feature in Goblin Tools rather than trying to use a Google search. It's also reducing overwhelm by providing a structure. When you know the steps for one particular task, that is giving you then the structure, and you're not then wondering, what do I have to do next? With the Magic To Do, I have been able to copy and paste it into a Word document and use those steps with clients to help them when mental capacity has declined, or maybe as kids have developed. Instead of having just go clean your room, here's the actual steps of what clean your room means. You also are able to edit it and add, your own wording if you like. By having your Magic To-Do list, it encourages accountability and consistency in completing your tasks. One problem I see with Magic To Do is your interpretation of the steps. There's a video, which I'll share a link in the show notes, about making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and the steps that kids write down, and then the other person has to try and make it following the exact wording. This might be the same problems that you might encounter. It's the interpretation of what the steps actually mean. Also, if you're a visual learner, you're going to want pictures rather than words. I hope you find this a useful AI tool that you may be able to incorporate into your own home management. I'd love for you to share with me on social media your experiences with AI tools. Thanks for listening to Simply Happy Conversations. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Simply Happy Conversation. Moving to a new house? Make your relocation a breeze with our free Moving Essentials checklist. You'll have everything you need for a smooth and stress-free moving day at your fingertips. Don't let the chaos of moving overwhelm you. Download your free Moving Essential checklist from simplyhappy.com.au in the resource section. I'd like to acknowledge the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation on which this podcast is recorded as the traditional custodians of the land. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging.